Now, the house tour. Okay, so first things first, we gotta start a house tour with the foyer. The door. This is a very expensive door. So it's the combi door from Dr. Doors. We got the digital lock that came with the door, so it has a whole bunch of functions. You can go like facial recognition, fingerprint, pin code, RFID tag. I think there's even a mobile app option, but we are only using the fingerprint because personally I feel like that's the most straightforward way of using a digital lock because I just reach for it and then I'm pushing open the door anyway, right? My only peeve with this door is there is no peephole. Yeah, there is a camera that's pointing out and like I can kinda, if I can get the screen to work, I can kind of look out and like see what's going on, but yeah, it's not like a peephole. You just stand there and you can see out. This one I have to wait for it to load, like go and tap 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 tap, make sure the screen is responding. So this like my only peeve with this door, but other than that, I love it. It's like one of my favorite thing in the house. The layout of the foyer is actually a little bit different from the rest of the house. So the foyer is done in tiles, while the rest of the house, minus the wet areas in the kitchen, are in vinyl. So the idea was to follow a Japanese concept, like you walk in the door and then you take off your shoes. So there's like a dirty area and a clean area. That was the goal. That was the idea. But we ended up not actually utilizing it that way because first of all, in Singapore, most people when you visit somebody else's house, you take off the shoe outside the door. So end up they like just walk through this area when it's supposed to be like a dirty area, but they walk through this area barefooted and essentially like you carry the dirt into the house, right? And the second thing is also, I have cats. They don't care whether the area is clean or dirty, they're just gonna walk. So it became a little bit of a, yeah, it's not like working out the way we want it to, but it still looks nice. And I still really like the design of it. It's like there is a segregation of like the outside area versus the inside area, you know. And also we had this idea when we went for a vacation in Kuala Lumpur. One of the hotels, or rather the hotel that we stayed at when we were there, had a full-length mirror right by the front door. For them, they had like a bench, which actually like it made it a very nice place to sit down and wear your shoes. But at the same time, when you stand up, you can't see your feet anymore because the bench is blocking it. So we took the idea into our house and we have a full-length mirror over here. This is the back of our full-height pantry cabinet. So we basically utilize this, and then this being like a dirty area, right? So you're already wearing your shoes. So you can stand here, do like a fit check before you leave the house. And yeah, that was the idea. We still use this occasionally, I mean, when we're not working. On the rare occasions, we go out for like a nice date, fancy date. We do use this to take photos of like ourselves. Yeah. This is an pantry. It was built with the thought of being like a dry kitchen pantry type of area, which yeah, it kind of worked out. So the goal was you come in, you have like bags of stuff, right? And then while you're still in the dirty zone, you can drop off the items and then take off your shoes and then step in and then go around to the kitchen, and while doing that you pick up all the items with you because the kitchen is right there. So we actually did use this for its intended purpose, but at the same time, one of my cat, the one that was on here just now, she loves this place. Like if we are on a sofa, she's here. If we are like in this living area, she's here. So she has become the heaviest user of this area. It was supposed to be partially a dry kitchen, also because that's the one. Also because our kitchen is really, really small. So we actually wanted like more countertop space that just comes out of the kitchen, and we have like a space to use, basically. But because she uses this place so much, it's a little bit furry. Yeah, so now it's just like a dry pantry area and like a countertop just for us to drop things like parcels and groceries. Then we actually designed this seat over here. The goal was, you take off your shoe in the dirty area, and then you can just turn into the clean area, and you don't bring the dirt into the house. But there is a carpentry that basically like covered the wall, which means like this seat is actually really shallow and is not that comfortable to use. So what happened was, when the reno first started, the ID's contractor actually damaged the netlink truss cable that was going to the telco's fiber point. So they had to redo that cable, but in my contract with Singtel, because it's a brand new contract, so they were supposed to come and like redo that cable anyway, but they actually miscalculated at which point should the cable turn. So the cable is actually along the ceiling for this point, and it was supposed to go behind this carpentry to where the fiber point will eventually be. But they actually miscalculated that. So what ended up happening is the cable went via the ceiling and it came straight down here, like behind this piece of carpentry. So they had to like bring this out just to cover that tiny little trunking, but this is really thick. I don't know why, like it's half the size of my hand, or rather it's 3/4 the length of my hand. So yeah, so ended up this seat we're just like not really using. This is one of my cat's bed now. She likes to lie here sometimes in the middle of the night. Yeah. And then finally, the concept that we have of the foyer was we brought down the ceiling. We have a pillar on this side, so we brought the ceiling out to line up with this, and we brought the whole thing down. It was supposed to give off the vibe like you enter into this like smaller space, but once you step out, it feels like the rest of the space open up. So that was the goal, but I think it's too small to properly give off the vibe. Like the foyer area is actually really, really small. But I would say I still, like given the choice to do this again, I would still choose to go ahead with this. It's really quite cozy, so yeah, I would still have done that again. And moving on, living room. Okay, so this is that big storage space. I think is the biggest storage space in the whole house, minus the wardrobe. But yeah, so this was meant to be just general storage and shoes, and I have a lot of shoes. So this entire bottom portion are just like shoes, and this whole thing is mine. And then me and my husband shares this. So I took up 3/4 of like the space of this. So this is general storage, and we have like books and a bunch of like my DIY stuff are up top, and like mementos from events that I'm a part of because I work in events are there. So last year I was involved in National Day parade, and we have like mementos from back then. A bunch of games here. These are like my mementos, and then my husband has a drawer of his here. Commonly used tools are inside here as well. So this is just like general storage. And then moving on to the TV wall. This TV wall was actually built to basically cover up this little cubby that we had in the original wall. Like I really cannot figure out why it was built that way. It was like a 10 cm deep cubby hole. Oh, I guess like that 10 cm would have been just nice for the TV to inset into the wall, but it goes like somewhere here. So it's a bit odd. Yeah. So we decided we're gonna have a TV, like a feature wall, and the house being a theme of like, I don't know to call this Japandi or like Korean, because there are a lot of Korean like hotels and houses that has this vibe as well. It's just white and wood. Yeah, that's the theme of the house basically. So we wanted like a nice feature wall to block up that little hole. So this is what we went with. It's just like a piece of laminate. And then the TV is hung up there. This TV height is actually higher than usual. I think most homes would have this like yay high. But we raised it. Number one was because the speakers that I'm using are much taller than the average home speakers. These are Yamaha studio monitors. It's overkill. Yeah, but I have my reasons. So because we watch a lot of streaming sites like Netflix, Disney Plus, and those already have audio like mastered. Like it's already how they want you to receive the audio. So I don't need like a soundbar with enhanced bass or whatever. I don't need. I just need them as is. So not something you will see in a normal home. But these are analog speakers, so they take XLR inputs. This is like geek talk already. So I have this digital analog converter. So SPDIF optical cable from the TV to this box and then XLR out to these two. Yeah. Here is my Joy-Con collection that if you've seen my Joy-Con video on this channel, it's all here on display. Waiting for the Switch 2. I'm waiting to buy it. I'm waiting for I generally don't buy first generation hardware, so waiting for a bit when they come out like a second batch before I purchase them. So this TV being raised up a little bit higher also helps that when we are seated at the dining area, we can actually see the entire TV instead of like it being blocked by the backrest of the sofa, right? Yeah, so that was like a added advantage of raising it a little bit. It doesn't actually feel too high. Like when we are seated on the sofa, it's not like I'm doing this. It's comfortable, and in fact I can like lean back on the backrest a little bit and I'm still comfortably watching the TV. Yeah. And while we're here, the media console is off the shelf. I got this on Taobao. The problem with buying things on Taobao is I can't exactly match the color to the rest of the house because these are like proper like laminates, right, from the ID. So yeah, we have a few items that's just like a little bit off the shade. So I decided not to build in a media console because I don't know what my habits are. I've never had a TV console. So if I want to change it, I can. I just throw away, buy a new one, right? Versus if I actually built in a TV console, I won't be able to do that. But the downside is, this thing is just a little bit too low for my robot vacuum to go underneath, so let that whole area have to like manually clean it. Yeah, and I have cats, so the litter kind of get tracked around the house, and there's a litter box right beside. So moving on, this is the other end of the living room. This is the window. So this bar counter was a later on addition. We wanted more tabletop space and place to seat people when we have gatherings. So this kind of introduced like at least like a few more seats, and my husband wants to basically be able to like sit here, enjoy the view, and like have a cup of tea or a drink. So the thing is, this is like a 3-meter wall, so there has to be some kind of support at some point. So we made it, we told the ID to basically follow the split in the windows. So we have a leg here as additional support, and this counter is also like sits directly at the place between this window and the window below. So occasionally my cats will sit here and watch the view. It's actually quite cute. And then because I have cats, I have to mesh the house. So I got these. I can't really close them because the handle gets in the way, but these are retractable mesh and they are so clear. I mean, it's dusty now because it's been installed for a year, so I can see the mesh. But when I first installed this, everyone that came to the house, and like one of my cats like to jump up here, they're always like, hey, the window's open, the window's open. I'm like, there's a mesh. It's okay. Yeah, you really can't tell that there's something here. I love it. But the problem with mesh, I think this is not like this mesh problem, I think it's just a mesh general problem, is that it blocks the wind from coming in. Sometimes we do get very windy here, but because we have the mesh, it become not as windy. So on the period of the year like now, where there is little to no wind, it's hot. It's so hot inside here. But yeah, but later half of the year, like in October onwards to about March, we're good. Yeah, it's just this time of the year is bad. Yeah, so retractable mesh. These are also actually really, really cheap. I bought them off Taobao because the local company that quoted me for the mesh, this one piece of window was $1,000. So I went on Taobao and I got my whole house meshed in under $1,000. Yeah, it's one of those. Like, I want to support local, but sometimes it don't make sense. Yeah. Moving on, more of the house. These cove lights are fake cove lights. So I wanted cove lights, but I don't want false ceiling because of that one news article that like basically said this family's false ceiling fell on them. And after that, I'm like, no false ceilings for me. Like, no. But I wanted cove lights. And my husband was like, how are you going to get cove lights without false ceiling? And I found these. So they are little like triangle that basically you... Okay, on the product listing, it was supposed to be mounted on the wall and it shine upwards. But I thought if you can mount it on the wall, you can mount it on the ceiling, right? It's just another wall that's in a different orientation. So I mounted it on the ceiling and have it shine down the wall. So what happens is, it's a little bit of triangle and the plaster contractor is supposed to like plaster over and make it smooth. That didn't actually happen. Like I can see the line between the ceiling and the light, but I guess it's good enough. Like to me, that's not that big of a problem. So this cove light goes around from the carpentry this way, inside of the curtain, and then goes out towards the aircon. So at some point, my IDD asked me, why didn't you like just go all the way? Partially, number one, I didn't know how like high my aircon would have went. And also, I thought it was a little bit weird to light up the top of the aircon. It's like giving it attention when I don't need to give it attention. Yeah, so this just covers basically the living room area. Then next is my cat wall. Please ignore the dying plant. I'm gonna face this way instead. Cat walls. I got this shelf off of Taobao. They are solid wood. So they are super heavy, but basically good quality, right? So all of like the curved ones have like a piece of metal at the back just to make it extra sturdy. Like actually not just the curved ones. These ones don't. These two, as well as the circular one that was on the other side beside the dying plant, all have like metal behind them to mount onto the wall. So they are very, very, very sturdy. These cushions are velcroed down, so I can actually take them out to wash. He's loving it. This used to be my tortoiseshell's favorite place, and then the black one took over and tortoiseshell moved up here, and then now the tuxedo took over and the black one moved to the tea lounge. Yeah, this is one of their most like favorite bed in the entire house. When I designed the house, I wanted it to be a place where my cat coexists with the humans and not just like it's a human's house and the cat lived in it. Yeah, so this is one of them. That little scratch pole beneath the pantry area is one of them. I just wanted a lot of cat things that make sense, but obviously I wanted to look nice, right? So I think this looks nice. Here's that scratch pole I was talking about. The tuxedo loves it. My totty will just like stretch on the pole. The black one only uses the scratch pads on the sides, but the tuxedo he goes crazy over this. Next, the pantry. So like I mentioned, this was supposed to be the drop-off area for groceries, and then you go around this island and go into the kitchen where everything gets kept. This is her spot now, right? Yeah. So also here is this tea shelf. This is a later addition. So what happened was all this were at a tea lounge, but it's like the other corner of the house from the kitchen, and this is where we get hot water. So it was a little bit not intuitive to use. To like go there, grab a tea, and then like walk all the way back to get hot water. So yeah, we bought this shelf just off Taobao, and we moved all our tea stuff here. Also means I can like display my like Starbucks cup collection. My worry when we first thought of like buying this shelf was that it might make this walkway feel a little bit cramped, but I think it's not too bad. The only thing is if I do open up a drawer, it does feel like I have to be like backed into the shelf to like open this completely, and at the same time, this is our snack drawer. I have not seen the bottom of this drawer since we moved in. That was a year and a month ago. Yeah. It just kept getting topped up in snacks, and like I've never seen the bottom. So yeah, this is where we store our dry items. Snacks, tea, pastas and noodles are also here because they're like dry, right? And then this is medicine cabinet. All the medications are inside, sorted out according to what they are. And then this one is a little pocket door that holds the microwave. There is 2 pocket doors over here, this one and this one. This one has like wines and husband's coffee capsule collection and some sauces that needs to be kept dry. So the problem with this door, it's let me tilt the camera up so it's more obvious. Don't jump in. So the problem with this pocket door and this pocket door is you can see that this one juts out a lot more than this one. So what happened was I told the ID I want a full height, basically a full height pantry cabinet over here, and my rule across the whole house, minus the front foyer carpentry, is anything below waist level is drawers, anything above head is casement door, right? Except for these 2, I wanted them in pocket doors because like I can leave them open, and I won't be like blocking the movement, and especially this door. Somehow nobody caught this. The height of these 2 portions are different, which means the height of the door is different, but the depth of the carpentry is the same. So this door now juts out way more than what's ideal. So with this door open, the kitchen door can never open. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying, but we've lived with it for a year, and honestly it hasn't been that much of an issue. It's just an annoyance whenever I get reminded of it. Yeah. So yeah, microwave is here, and then more dry stuff up here. And then this one I'm very excited about. I don't have doors up here right now, but that is because the carpenters took the door to make some adjustments, and what I've done is I've gotten this little pull down basket. Look! I don't have to climb up to like put things on this top shelf. And for someone that's particularly challenged, that's amazing. But yeah, so basically the carpenters took the door to like move the hinge, because this basket I got like when I bought it, the seller on Taobao did mention that I potentially have to move the hinge of the door, and I ended up actually having to do that. But this is usable, so what you do is this bottom handle you squeeze and it will go up. and then just whee. Ta-da! Yeah, so I got the exact same one. I'm so excited about that basket thing. I got the exact same one in the kitchen. The problem with this door, based on the design, right? I would have thought that it would have been one piece of glass, and then you somehow do this design over it, right? Right? No. This is apparently 8 pieces of glass. So it has a wobble. I'm not sure how obvious it is. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know it's not supposed to wobble like that until my friend pointed it out when they came for housewarming. But yeah, my friend said that it could be because it's not like one piece of material. It's many pieces stuck together. Yeah. Ta-da! Yeah, so I got this exact basket. I mean, different dimension because the carpentry's measurements are a little bit different. I got this exact one made here. I wanted to have this above the fridge as well, but my fridge juts out a little bit too much. Kitchen is the few places, or rather the only place in the house where black appear. So the appliances are in black, sink, it was in black, purposefully so because we've seen like the water residue built up around the white water appliances. We did not like how that looked. Of course it happens with black as well, you'll see the water residue on the black stuff, but I feel like it doesn't look as bad as if it were white. Yeah, so same goes for hoop and hob. Gas stove, obviously, I am ethnically Chinese. I cannot accept induction. And then an oven which tripped the house after we used it and then not used it for a few months. And the next time we used it, it tripped the house. But it's okay now. So the trick to not having the oven trip your home circuit, right? Especially in a country like Singapore where it's so humid, you slowly increase the temperature. So I started off from 50 because that's the temperature that I have, like the lowest one that's available. So 50, leave it on for like, I think mine does like a little click, or like one of the panel like lights goes off once it reaches the temperature, and then I turn it up a little bit more and then wait for it to hit the temperature again, and then turn it up a little bit more and then wait for it to hit the temperature again, and just repeat that until I get to like, I think the last time I did that I went to like 250 or like past 250, and it was fine afterwards. So yeah, that's a little trick to stop your oven from tripping your house. So kitchen was one of the places where we made the first change after moving in, because it like things did not make sense. So this drying rack, this is an extension that I bought off Taobao. I'm gonna move the camera closer. This is an extension I got off Taobao because of the way that we ended up designing this kitchen, right? Like we decided to go for like these 2-tier carpentry design, which means I have very limited height. So what ended up happening is big things doesn't fit. So we have, I think, 2 very big like soup bowls, and we have the Western like dining plates. Those are huge. They cannot fit. Like this is, yeah, it's just not possible for them to fit. Which was an annoyance. So I ended up buying this thing, little sushi roll thing, so that I can put it over the sink and put the plates on these to dry. This door is the first change in this house, or rather, it's 2 changes happened concurrently, but this is one of the major ones. So before we got this door that opens upwards, it's a standard casement door like these. And one time we were making Christmas cookies, And because we were baking, right, there's constantly things that needs to be washed. The door was open, and I walked full force into this corner twice. I mean, not this door because it's been removed, but yeah, the door that was over the drying rack. I was so mad. I mean, before that, we already realized that, okay, we gotta change that door, but it was that incident that really made me go. Yeah, so we got that changed. We have it in the same laminate as the rest of the kitchen, and also in like a fluted and frosted glass, which matches the yard door over here. The unfortunate thing about my kitchen is it's so small. It gets really hot because I don't have ways to ventilate this space unless I'm leaving the kitchen door open, which means all the cooking smell will go into the living room, which honestly I don't find that like a bad thing, because I grew up in those old HDB houses where like the kitchen is the same size as the living room or like a bedroom. And it's actually, to me, it's actually really welcoming to like, come home, and when you're at the front door, you smell the food, right? Like, to me, that's super welcoming. But I also do understand, like, if we do make something that's like greasy, like deep fry or something, I don't want that oil to travel into the living room. So we have installed like a corner fan, and it was supposed to help ventilate the space a little bit, and it kind of cools down the person when they are in the kitchen, but ventilation, arguable. The layout of my kitchen is like normal HDB kind of has the yard like basically at the end of the kitchen, right? So once you open the door, it's the yard, which in my case, yes, it is the yard. But the difference is I have this window that leads to the outside. So this is not the yard, this is the outside. My yard ends here. So it's attached to the kitchen on the short side instead of on the long side. I don't know how else to explain that. But the idea we had was we're gonna install the corner fan, and then we have this little window. So if we don't want to remove our clothes, we can close the doors and windows on the yard, and then leave this window open and have the corner fan basically blow the air this way, right? That was the goal. It doesn't work that way. But in any case, the corner fan does cool people down when we are here. The downside is because of the space is required to install, I can't really do like a carpentry there, and because it's not exactly a small item, I can't actually fix it on a door. It becomes a hazard, like it might actually cut your head or something. So yeah, it's currently here now, and that shelf below was supposed to be like a common use item, like frequently used item shelf, but it has since become their bed, to the point where like we just put a bed there for them. I mean, we don't use this place often, so that's okay. Now, for the appliances in the kitchen, for me, I use Taobao a lot, but there are things that I will not buy from Taobao. Electronic appliances being one of them. So my fridge, my hot oven, everything was bought locally. But the sink, I can buy from Taobao. So I got this sink and I absolutely love it. It comes with like 3 pre-cut holes for you to install fixtures. So I have this tab that came with the sink, like it was a package, and then I could select what I want, right? So I got this soap dispenser and this cup washer. This thing, best purchase for the kitchen, I feel. We use it a lot. Like for cups, it's still easy to wash, right? The opening of the cup is actually very big. But for bottles, it gets harder to wash. So this thing is amazing. You just pump a bit of soap into your bottle and then you just spray, and it cleans the bottle, and it's actually quite clean. You still gotta wash the outside yourself, but the troublesome one is the inside. The outside has no issue. Yeah, best thing ever. And then the thing about this sink is it comes with this little basket that has its own like drainage. So if I want to do like soaking of vegetables or like meat or seafood or whatever, I can. It actually came with a chopping board that actually supposed to fit in here just nice. So I can chop things here and basically swipe the waste into the sink to clean up later. It's quite a poor quality chopping board. I can see like the wood grains everywhere, like it's not properly varnished. Yeah, so it's like here there's like a splash cover now. Although we don't need it because our backwash is sintered stone, same as our countertop, but yeah, it's there. And then the next part of the sink that I really like is it has this built-in basket for your sponges, so I don't have to like buy something extra to put my sponge in or like hook it to the side of the sink because there's like a little cutout area for it already. I mean, end up we still have like extra sponges sitting at the side here. This is for the sink, to wash the sink, and this is like for my cats. So yeah, but in general, I like this layout a lot. This soap dispenser, love it because it connects to a giant bottle basically of Mama Lemon that sits underneath the sink. I don't have to keep like topping it up. This is like hand soap, which is we're using a shampoo bottle like an Asian household. I would love it if I can pipe that to something down below as well, but I don't have any more space to put that, so it's a bottle that sits on the counter now. The fridge. Like I said, more of my electronic appliances are bought locally, so this is a Hitachi fridge. This is my first time having this kind of fridge, by the way. I've always grown up with like the one door on top for the freezer, one door below for like the fridge type of refrigerator. I guess because those are much cheaper. Like the moment you go into this like drawer zone, it becomes 4 digits. The 2-door kind of fridge, you can find something in 3 digits. Find something very decent in 3 digits. But yeah, this is automatically 4 digits. But my husband doesn't like those fridges because the ice compartment sits with the frozen food. So you can taste the frozen food in your eyes. And after getting this, I understand what he means. But the limitation of this kitchen is also that the fridge sits in a very odd area and I can't exactly move it. And like my counter is over here, right? Way back of the fridge. And the reason for that is behind here, there's actually a void on the floor plan. It's basically a boxed up area where the pipe is, the state pipe is. It's like a drainage pipe like that goes through, I would think, the whole entire block. So behind this is that pipe void. So I can't push this back. Which also means this is about the only place in the kitchen that makes sense for me to put a fridge. So people always say like, you know, try not to box up your fridge because you might not be able to, you know, get an upgrade. My problem is I don't even really have space for upgrade. So if I do find a new fridge in the future, I will have to find back a dimension that's like this. In any case, if I'm still in this house. I actually quite like this. Like, this makes it very neat. And then the door, my parents came once and my dad was like, why is your door opening this way? Like, shouldn't your door open this way? Like, this is a wall. I can't do anything here. Then I was like, if I'm carrying food after cooking, I don't have hands to pull open a door, right? So instead, carrying my stuff, I can do this and I'll go out. And then he was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. See, we thought things through. Before we move on, there's a funny story about this light up here. So it's meant to be like a night light. It's not supposed to be bright. It's like in the middle of the night, you want to come out and grab some water. You have something that's illuminating the space. So when we first installed all our lighting fixtures and had electricity, and I turned them on, right? My husband saw this, and then he was like, oh my god, you need to see this light. Then I'm like, what's wrong? And then we came, and it was this disgusting shade of yellow, orange. And we are like, why is it like that? Like, most Taobao, my lights are mostly Taobao. They actually list the color temperature of the light, the LED strip that's inside. This was like, I think 4K or like 5, 6. It's supposed to be like a warm white. But it was this disgusting shade of orange. It's like the golden hour sunlight orange, but a bit greenish at the same time. And we were like, yeah, but then we realized. So what happened was, during that period when we turned on all the lights, because it was near the end of the renovation, right? So the painters had came by, and when they paint, you can probably guess where this is going. So when they paint, they stick this yellow masking tape around things that's not supposed to be painted, so they get like that clean edge, right? So most of them have been removed, but the one around the light wasn't removed. So the disgusting orange light that we were looking at was this light shining through the yellow tape. And then once we realized there was tape there, they were like, oh, that's why. Next up is the dining room. We've not actually used this other than the times where we had guests over. Most of the time we are eating at the coffee table. Because it's just the two of us, it's more convenient. You can just sit right in front of the TV and you know, just eat. But this dining table is from IKEA. It's the extendable, I forgot what's it called at this point. But it's an extendable table that can fit up to, I would say comfortably 8 packs, but if you squeeze, you can definitely fit like 10 or potentially even 12. So this is in the 6-seater arrangement. So I have one extendable segment here, but there's another one underneath, stored underneath. So it can extend again, and it can also be collapsed. For us, this is like the comfortable size, so we usually leave it in this 6-seater arrangement. I have this little like snack Lazy Susan over here. So these are like the slightly more perishable snacks compared to the ones in the drawer. My favorite part of the dining area is actually this wall. I really like this wall. Previously there was supposed to be a shelf that is supposed to be mounted on this wall. Because I collect like small bottles, so I have a shelf that was custom built to hold all these bottles, and it was supposed to go here, but because I like how this wall turned out like so much, I decided to move that shelf somewhere else. Yeah, so yeah, this is the tea lounge. We built this because we both really love tea, and we actually really like the idea of having like a dedicated area, you know, to just sit and chill and drink tea. So this was created, but the problem with this is we are by the window, and the layout of the living and dining area meant that the air actually don't really flow into this space. So even though I have like aircon outside in the living room, which is actually open with the dining room, right? But I don't feel it here. It's actually quite hot. And then this shelf behind me was what the tea shelf was supposed to be. So all the tea stuff were here, and some of them are still here. Like I have a shelf to store the teacups over here, and on this side, this little like cake display thing that's actually holding all my teacups. But ever since we moved the bulk of the tea items over to the tea shelf over there, this is now like a storage area. So I got like my cat food here. Yeah, because it's just easier to reach. Underneath this, we actually built it up like a platform storage area. We didn't want to raise this up too high. First of all, because then it becomes like a hassle to get in and out, right? Like it's kind of somewhere in the middle between like a staircase, step, and the height of a chair. This flooring is actually a mat that I got custom made on Taobao, because when we built up the tea lounge, I actually left space for power plugs over here. I think it's not coming up on camera. But there are 2 power plugs over here. The goal was that we have like basically a water boiler or like a water heater somewhere here that's probably going to need power. So that's why there's power plugs here. And the other idea was I wanted to keep the option of having another bed somewhere in the house. The way that we renovated the house, it's almost like we don't have a spare room anymore. So, but I want to have the option of being able to convert a space into like a sleeping area in case I need to house one of like my friends, like maybe somebody has an emergency and need a place to crash for a night, for example. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but yeah, so that's how this space was made. So this tatami, now it's just a mat, but basically the cover has 2 sides. One side is just a typical fabric, the other side is like a tatami material, but I wouldn't call it like the Japanese tatami material. It kind of feels more like the Chinese, the liangxi, like a cooling bamboo thing. But yeah, the idea is that I can, flip sides and I can use it for other purposes. So with that in mind, this door is closable. I have 2 doors on each side. And after closing it up, this becomes like a little private space that is kind of like separated from the rest of the house. So in the case that I do need to house somebody, this is an option. I think this is like the highlight of the house, right? Like this is like the statement piece, Yeah, you walk in, you see this. But there's actually so a funny story for this one. When we were looking for quotes for this door, because it's such a... I've never seen this done before. Maybe it has been, but I couldn't find any examples of it in Singapore context. We wanted these shoji doors, but we obviously can't have it in real rice paper since I have cats and they zoom. So once they zoom, they will zoom a hole in this. So we got it done in frosted glass, but it was such a unique thing that I wanted, where I wanted it to be able to be enclosed. We were not sure if that was like physically possible, but the end result is really good. So yeah, that's the entire house. Living room, dining room, bedroom. I'm just kidding. So the reason why I love this wall so much, right, even though it's just like a blank wall, is because there's a secret in it. And that secret is a door. If I had put that shelf on this wall, I think that would have killed the illusion, because there's no way for me to hide the gap of the door, right? Like, amongst all the concealed door walls I've seen, the gap is really obvious. Like, you can tell there's a door there because the rest of the wall doesn't have a gap. So what I did, or rather what I told the ID to do, was to carve out lines that matches the width of the door. So this is actually equal to this, which equals to this, and that one's shorter because we hit the end of the wall. But basically that's what I told the ID to do, and it turned out so well. I love it so much. And like even this top line over here, because this is the end of the door, I can't hide this line. There's no way for me to hide this. So I just drew an entire line across. And I love it so much. I don't want to cover this. And I really feel like having that shelf on this wall would absolutely have killed that illusion. Like, it wouldn't have worked. So this door separates the living area to the bedroom area, and we walk through the wardrobe portion basically and end up in the study room. So this is where the bottle shelf got moved to. Here. It kind of made a space that's already a little bit cluttered, even more cluttered. But at the same time, I kind of like it. I mean, based on our tables, you can tell that my husband's definitely a minimalist kind of person, and I am very much organized chaos type of person. So this fits my vibe, you know. So in this room, first of all, it's a little bit off of camera now. There is a full height cabinet at the end of this table area. So that houses my server. So there is a lamp pot and a PowerPoint inside for that purpose. And then we have the long table area. I had always wanted a his and hers kind of setup, and I kind of achieved it with this dual screen setup for both. I am the techie in the house, so I gave us both dual screens, but he's got a MacBook Air, so there's only one secondary display from that computer. Yeah, that's on him for buying a MacBook Air. But basically, I have essentially over-engineered my study setup. I do broadcast multicam for professionally, so I deal with like switches and all that on a regular basis. So ended up what I did was I have a power distribution unit over here. It's super overly engineered. Like if you had seen one of my previous videos, I talked about this. I 3D designed, or rather I got my dad to 3D design a case for the 3-pin plug, the UK 3-pin plug, so that I could fit it in this PDU at the back. And then with that, I have a HDMI matrix switcher. So this controls what goes on all the screens and what goes to my capture card that's connected in my PC, because I stream. So when I play game, I want to have my game feed obviously in the stream. So that's what that does. I have two computers over here. Both I think appeared in my channel in one form or another. This is the Lian Li PC that I built a few years ago, and then this is the Mini ITX PC recently that I built as a replacement to my previous gaming PC. On top of that, I have a Ethernet wall point up in the cabinet with my server. I have two more behind this desk over here. One connects directly to my PC, my main PC, and the second one connects to this router that's underneath this cat bed over here. So because my first router, my main router, is all the way at the other end of the house at the media console, my worry was that in this room, which is the furthest end, the other end of the house, I would not get enough like Wi-Fi signal. So I got another router and basically meshed the two of them. So I'm quite covered in the house. My limitation now is that when I first ran the Ethernet cable across the house, I went with Cat 6. The major regret, I should have went with Cat 7. At least like, you know, future-proof a little bit, right? But yeah, I can't do much about that now. At this point right now, I am limited by like a single gigabit pipe because my optical network terminal only has a gigabit port. So Cat 6 is enough. But in the event where I upgrade to like a 2.5 or like 5 or a 10, you know, Cat 6 is... There's also obviously many changes to my table setup over the years. Like from moving in till now, things have changed and things are still going to change. I just bought a iPad stand, like a table mounted iPad stand, so that I can charge my iPad via the pins on the back instead of via the USB port, because I use my iPad to play music for my stream, and that means I need the USB-C port because I don't have a headphone jack, and which means I can't charge my iPad while that's happening. So again, getting things to help over-engineer stuff. I almost forgot the stuff that's on the other side of the study. So my desk is over here, and this is the wall that will be behind my chair from my camera, basically. So I have these cat shelves. Currently only the tuxedo's been on this. The other two just don't like them for some reason. But occasionally I have the tuxedo climbing in here, which is quite cute. And then I have this nanolift wall, which rarely gets turned on, but it's usually like if I'm streaming, I just want like a nice background, basically. And it's kind of bright today, so you can't really tell. It's quite dim. Bedroom. So on the floor plan, this was the bed 2 of the house instead of the master bedroom, and the study was actually the master bedroom. So why we shifted that was because I work in events, which has really irregular hours. Sometimes I come home at 4, sometimes I leave at 4 in the morning, right? So as much as possible, I wanted to separate the get ready area, which is the master toilet, from the bed, so that in the event that I have one of those like late night, early mornings, I don't disturb my husband. As you've seen just now, I don't have a door for the bedroom. We use a curtain. I also feel like not having that door make this space more connected to the outside. So this feels like the same space as the study and the wardrobe area. This bay window, again, this mat was made from Taobao, same seller as the one on the tea lounge. And I'm using this space now as like a bed where I want to have aircon, but I'm not showered yet, so I can't get on my bed, so I sleep here. I take a nap here, basically. My cats, finally see the black one over here, the void. They love to use this space to suntan. My bed is from Taobao. Might feel it's a weird choice to buy a bed frame from Taobao. Mattress is bought locally because we are very particular with our mattress. But the bed frame was from Taobao. So you can't tell because it looks like there's space underneath, but this is actually a storage bed. So the storage box is a little bit inset from the edge of the bed frame because in my experience with storage bed, I always kick the frame. I tend to stand close to the bed if I'm like folding something on the bed or whatever, right? So I always hurt my toe because the storage bed usually comes all the way down to the floor, right? So when I saw this on Taobao, I'm like, hey, this is perfect. I get the storage, but I don't hurt my toe. It's still very sturdy. It's a very good bed. The only thing is to pull this up, right, to access the storage underneath, they didn't really give one of those like cloth handles so that you don't have to like dig underneath your mattress to pull up that plank of wood. So they didn't have that provided. So I ended up finding one of my old like belt or something, and then I just sewn a little handle at the end for myself. The reason why I say it's a little bit janky is when after I'm done with the storage underneath, when I want to lower back my mattress, the bed board, that was the word. The board kind of gets shifted in the way whereby it starts to sit on the side instead of going in. So I had to like wiggle it or like pull it in a certain way so that it goes down properly. The thing I like though about this bed, this actually is adjustable. So if I'm sitting on a bed and I want to sit upright and lean back and watch the TV, right, I can actually pull this out and it'll be like a nice backrest. So this portion is adjustable. So that was what kind of also sold me on this particular bed frame as well, was this adjustable headboard. As you can see over there, it's one of the places that they like to hang on, especially the Totty. She loves to sit on the headboard because her love language is she wants to be near us, but we no touch, not allowed to touch. So that's where she likes to go. And final thing in the bedroom that I can't not talk about is this door right here. This is the cat door that goes to the tea lounge. So in the event that our bedroom door is closed, we keep the aircon in, but the cats still have a way to get out or get in. I found this on Taobao and then I had this like, oh, I must have this at home kind of idea. It's just like, this is perfect, you know, because back at my parents' place, I can't exactly close my door because otherwise my cat can't get in or out. But I do want to have the aircon turned on, so I ended up just leaving my door ajar for my cat. And then my Totty actually learned how to pull open and push open doors. She hasn't had to use that skill since. But yeah, so when we were designing this place, we were like, cat door. That's one of those things that I definitely want. Next, the wardrobe area. This is actually the original space for the wardrobe in the HDB floor plans. We thought that this is actually really nice, like a walk-in wardrobe kind of vibe, especially after we close the door. I'm not gonna close it because I got a bunch of stuff behind here that I don't want to show. So after we close the door, this becomes like a little cubby space of like changing room, basically, like a walk-in wardrobe, which I thought was really nice. With it being a little like walk-in wardrobe area, I placed my vanity over here. This is just like an off-the-shelf vanity shelf. So inside has all my like accessories. I have a lot of earrings, so they're all inside, and my skincare stuff are all inside. And then over here we have a little corner shelf. It's a bit messy, so I don't want to show it, but basically a little corner area that we curved, and we have our hair dryer there, and below here the two layers that's nearer to the floor, I custom made baskets that basically covers the mess and blocks out dust, and it fits perfectly into the shelves. Like this really props to the Taobao sellers, like they can really get things down to like the T. So this wardrobe, the special thing that I've done with the wardrobe is I don't have the top row of shelves. So normally like right on top you have like a row of shelves. I don't. I have my clothes rack all the way up to the ceiling. And the question will be, how are you gonna get it down? So I found this, I don't know how I came across this, but it was one of the houses that we were viewing. The owner did this. It's a pull down rack that you can hang your clothes, and then you just push it back up. I never liked that top row of shelf because every time I put something up there, I don't touch it for like 5-10 years, right? And that means I'm gonna hoard things because I forget they exist. So I never wanted that top row of shelves. But after moving in here, I do see a point in it, like I could store winter clothes up there. But I have other storage area for those, and I love this. Like, this is so amazing. So I got this done for this portion of my wardrobe. So this is another one of those me taking up more space than my husband does. So basically this portion is mine. This portion is also mine. This is kind of mine. My work clothes are inside, and my husband has one to himself. But the pull down rack, I have it in these 3 portions that's installed. So for me, it's my long dresses and my tops, blouses and jackets. And then for my husband will be his shirts. Then the things that we changed. So previously I mentioned there were 2 things that we adjusted for the renovation after we moved in. Then the second was, I think the measurements I gave them were a bit off, or they misread the measurements. But basically from this shelf to the hanger, the rack to hang the hangers, was supposed to be like a measurement for my long dress. But I think they did that to the top of the wardrobe. So ended up all my dresses was like scrunched like this, because like my shelf was here. I still have the markings on the wall. The shelf was like here. So all my long dresses were like scrunched up like this, and I didn't like it. So what ended up happening was I got them to remove one set of these baskets and move them over to the next portion of the wardrobe and shift this shelf down. This is actually a pull-out shelf that I can use like fold clothes and all that. Yeah, and then it's fine. These are now like hanging freely without touching the bottom shelf. Next is the master toilet. Day to night transition because I just came back from a dinner. So first things first, bathtub. I managed to fit a bathtub in. I wouldn't call it like a long bathtub. It's not long, but it's just nice to like, I'm 160, for me to like slide down and have my head above the water. And basically the towel did up the side panel for this glass wall to sit on as well. And speaking of towel, I just want to say, like, I've watched so many like Reno nightmare videos, and they always, like, one of the big complaints that I hear people talk about in terms of tiling is always that when there's a inside corner is fine, right? This is easy. But when there's an outside corner like this, most of the time they just take like a PVC pipe and they cover the corner so they don't have to do like that 45 angle corner to match two pieces of tile together to get that very clean corner. Most tilers don't do that apparently. But the tiler that my ID contracted, love it. Superb job. Like, my bathroom looks so neat. Like, I have a beam above this door and it looks so good. Yeah, the tiling is superb. But we did have a little disagreement. So basically, my foyer is also tiled, right? So I had specifically said that I didn't want a step up into the house. I want a slope up. And the tiler basically told the ID that no, it can't be done because the slope is gonna be at too high of an angle, it's not gonna be useful, or etc, etc, etc. But I told my ID, no, I want a slope. I'm okay if the angle is a little bit high, but I want a slope. I do not want a curb. So there were once, I think it was a big grocery trip or something. We basically had a really, really heavy trolley, and the slope helped. Like, it was a little bit difficult. It's definitely not like a ramp kind of gradual gradient up, right? It's not. But having that slope instead of a curb actually helped a lot. As with the rest of the house, there's a lot of fixtures in the bathroom that came from Taobao, Lazada, Shopee. But at the end of the day, those might be from China as well, right? The toilet obviously bought locally because we actually sat and tested the toilet to make sure that we are comfortable with it. This is really comfortable for us. It's American standard. There were some places that told us American standard can't be installed in HDB, but some places will tell you actually it's possible. They just have to change a pipe somewhere inside. So yeah, it is possible. The shower fixtures are from Taobao. The shower shelves that's holding all our products are also bought from Taobao. It's just a corner shelf, just a regular corner shelf that fits the theme, being like white and wood and whatnot, right? This shower fixture, I do really like it. We went with white instead of black because of that whole water stain thing. My only issue with it is it's starting to peel. The paint is starting to peel. In areas there's a little bit high touch on the shower head when it gets removed, as well as the front of that entire like pipe hot water mixture area. I had a hack to that, but I haven't got around to doing it. Was basically getting like white UV nail polish and just like UV cure over it. I think that's gonna work out. One thing that I'm super glad that we added into the master toilet is this little light over here. This light is actually really, really dim. I have a light outside now so you can still see me, but this light on itself is actually really dim. But in the middle of the night when you wake up and need to use the toilet, this light is just nice. It's not bright to the point whereby it hurts your eyes and you can still see. Like when we first installed it, I still went, this looks a little bit too dim to do anything. But actually living with this light now, it is fantastic. Onto the sink. Obviously there's the argument of the undermount versus overmount. I've sat for friends which had overmount sinks, and I didn't like how like the surrounding the counter gets wet, and that isn't really a good way to clean it because the sink is on top. I also didn't really like undermount sinks because the toilet being such a high usage area, right? The edge below the countertop where it connects to the sink actually can build up grime. I've tested this in hotels with undermount sinks before. I took a tissue paper and I wiped the edge and it come out black. So yeah, that's for that reason I didn't want undermount as well. So what other options do I have? I found this sink that is one piece from counter to sink. So this is actually from, I think it was Shopee? It did come from China. It took like 3 weeks to ship here. It was a whole set, this with the storage compartment below as well as this mirror. This mirror actually has some like smart-ish functions. Like you can, there's a button here to press and then you will heat up so it doesn't fog. There's also a light built in somewhere, but this is not connected to power, so I'm just using it as a mirror. And then lights, like I said, this one came from Taobao. The LED light strip in the box actually came from Taobao as well. These are the Akara light strips. So I can actually change the color if I press a button. This is like this orange light that my husband likes to use when he showers. It's not so bright. Like, he's very much a mood light person and I'm very much a work light person. I just have my work light in like the daylight warm color, not the blue white light kind of tone. So yeah, he likes this. This is full RGB programmable. These light strips. It didn't used to look this nice. Number one, I didn't buy enough, like the length of the LED, because, or rather, I didn't actually made up my mind if I wanted to run it on both sides of the box or just one side of the box. So after we moved in, we decided that, okay, we're gonna run both sides of the box. So I bought more light strips to connect and extend, and then I went and pasted around the edge of the box. Previously, the electrician, contractor versus like aesthetics, right? So he got the job done, which is to have the light in the box connected to power. But it was like rigged up in a way where it's kind of like, it's like from one side of the box that goes to the other side of the box, and then at some point you can see the LED bulbs. It didn't look nice basically. So I redid that and ended up with this. Next thing, before I move on, this door is completely the ID's work. We wanted glass somehow. The thought process was, this is gonna be for the master toilet, and most of the time people using master toilet is me and husband, so it's okay to have glass, but I also don't want to, just be like exposed to the outside world, right? So frosted and fluted glass, so you can kind of see shadows but you can't see like details at all. You see a blob basically. If you're inside, somebody walks by, you will see a blob that went by. So there was one time I came home and I didn't turn on the light. My husband got a shock because he just saw a shadow that went by the door. That was quite funny. I have this little laundry basket. So this actually fits just nice between the wall and the pipe. I just happened to find this listing on Taobao that it really has it in like a just nice size. This is very OCD, like satisfying. This one drawer full worth of laundry load is actually just nice one load on the washing machine. It's not a full load, but it's like the 3/4, 80%-ish kind of full, to the point whereby like I feel like I can confidently wash it and everything will tumble well in the washer, not filled to the brim to the point whereby they don't like move around at all. I also have a little basket with all the laundry bags, so whenever we change out, before we get into the shower, everything gets thrown into the laundry basket and the workflow just kind of makes sense. Continuing on the topic of toilets, this is the common toilet. We have the same tiles in a different shade. Basically, the bottom half of the toilet tile is exactly the same. The top half is the same tile but in a different shade. This common toilet actually was shrunk. We reduced the size of the common toilet because we didn't think we would need a dedicated shower space in the common toilet, so we just made it entirely a wet area. There's no differentiation between the wet and dry areas in the bathroom anymore. So this wall was not supposed to be here. This wall was supposed to go out a little bit more, and that was the shower area, but we brought the wall in. We still installed a shower just in case like someone stays over or they need, and also because I know I have cats, I have a space to shower them. At first they forgot about the shower pipes and all the toweling went up, and then one of the weekends when I came by to take a look on the reno, like just keep an eye on the reno, I came over and I'm like, this looks too clean. Where's my pipe for my shower fixtures? And then they were like, so they had to like redo that portion of the wall, right? Sink, same concept, no over or under mount, just a sink. This one doesn't even come with storage underneath because we felt we don't really need, but because we might end up having someone that have to shower in this area, so we tried to instead do things that can help with storage but still keep them waterproof. So this toilet holder is like completely waterproof. It still kind of fits in the theme. It's a little bit like plasticky because it is plastic, but fits in the theme with the rest of the house. And then my mirror has a sliding thing that has some kind of storage behind. I also installed a little box that's stuck on behind the door for people to put their clothes, their dry clothes, and keep them dry when they want to use the toilet. The lights in this bathroom is not so fancy. I didn't do it completely round the entire box. It's one of those dumb LED strips, so I can't exactly connect it and extend. But I felt I didn't need too much light here, so mainly was the sink area. So the sink area have a bit more coverage than the toilet area. One thing that I definitely want to mention about the two toilets is the importance of an exhaust fan. It's so amazing. Like I grew up in an old HDB, right? So we have those like the 4-piece of glass at an angle kind of window in the toilet, and sometimes it just doesn't work. Like the wet air stays in the toilet for a long time after you're done with the shower. And the exhaust fan completely solves that problem. We take hot showers. Like I've never walked in and felt stuffy at all with these exhaust fans. These are KDK exhaust fans. I have one here, one in the master toilet. Oh, amazing. And it gets rid of all the smells. Whatever smells you may have. Another thing that is well demonstrated in this particular spot of the house is this is actually the bomb shelter wall. So by right, you're not supposed to install any kind of wiring into the wall because that would mean you have to drill into the wall. So why is this switch here? This is a wireless switch. So if I press this button, sometimes it doesn't work. Basically, if you press on it, you will hear the click coming from this side because the actual switch is behind the door. But because of this, I don't need this anymore. And that actually solved the problem of like wanting to have switches in reachable places, but you can't do things to the wall. This is the last spot of the house, the yard, service yard or laundry room, whichever you prefer to call. So, like I mentioned earlier, the layout of the yard is a little bit different from the other HDB floor plans I've seen. Like, my yard is connected to the kitchen on the short side instead of the long side. So normally, this whole yard would have been this way, right? So I would have a smaller window, which, I mean, pros and cons. Like, this means I have better airflow if I open the kitchen door, but also means that the yard is actually really narrow. Like, this is the original size. This is the original wall. This is the wall that I can't move, and this is the other end of the yard. That's all I have. It's like a 1.2 meter width. Yeah. So this corner then was the part from the common bathroom that we carved out to put over to the yard so that I can put appliances here. So the washer as well as my vacuum dock goes just nice into this space. Is actually really OCD satisfying, but it's just nice to the point whereby I can't install those little like tile kicks that goes up the wall a little bit at the bottom. So I bought some like waterproof stickers to stick on the wall so that in the event that, you know, if I mop the area, I don't like destroy the paint on the wall. So for the yard, we got this Stegan laundry system. There are cheaper options outside. I think there are like at least 2 other brands that I know of that's about half the price of a Stegan. Same functions. But we decided to, you know, just not exactly go big or go home, but basically buy the more reputable brand with better RMA options. So Stegan being having a local office means that if things do go wrong, I know where to go to find people for servicing to fix this. And installing this was actually extremely easy. I thought I would need like extra power points. No, I just need the original light point. That's it. Like it doesn't take up much. And this has been a lifesaver in Singapore's weather. One of my things that I wanted in my house was a laundry area with sun so that, you know, I can sun my clothes. Because that's what I grew up with in the old HDB where your clothes stick outside of your flat, you know. But I don't have that option in the newer houses. Or the new HDB has like a laundry rack outside of your yard, but it's all like kind of sheltered. So you don't really get the sun. And we have monsoon seasons too on the equator. So during those periods where your clothes do not dry, this has been a lifesaver. I have cold air and hot air options. Most of the time we just do the cold air because some of our clothes don't really handle the hot air very well. Yeah, but it's been drying like, I can essentially dry a whole load of wash in like half a day. I think I also should mention that this entire house tour, right, is recorded like a whole month or even like a month and a half after the initial portion of the sit down talking video. So I actually recorded this entire segment right after like the following day, but I was holding my camera around everywhere I went and it was getting a little bit shaky. And when I was editing that, I felt like I was getting dizzy, like motion sickness just from watching it. So I decided to buy some accessories to hold my camera, and while waiting for that to arrive, we made changes around the house, like the kitchen, the wardrobe, the shelf in my study, the tea shelf as well. So yeah, this whole thing got like pushed back by a whole month. It was supposed to go out in June because that was like the 1 year anniversary of us moving in, right? But because of all those changes, the whole thing got shifted. So that's the house tour. There are some things that I think I did really well in terms of designing the house. First is getting smart switches, dumb lights. It massively lowered the cost that I might have spent if I had went for smart lights and dumb switches. Yeah, like per light bulb is really expensive, and on top of paying so much more for a smart light bulb or smart light, there isn't many aesthetic options for smart lights. Like, it usually looks kind of futuristic, and that's not a theme that works in this house. So my entire house is powered with Aqara. It is a China brand, which fine by me. I mean, I don't have issues working with Chinese stuff. And on top of buying Aqara smart switches, I bought the China version. So I got all my Aqara stuff on Taobao. Taobao has a bad rep. Like, people always feel like, oh, what you get from Taobao might be like fake or like OEM. That's why it's cheap. But if you find the correct things, Taobao is a legit shopping platform in China. So why would they sell only fake products? There are real legit products on Taobao. We just have to find them. I have the added advantage of being bilingual, so I can navigate the Taobao website with ease. So I got all my Aqara stuff off Taobao, and it saved me so much money because locally per switch, like a 2-gang switch is what, I think 55 Sing or above, I think. So like my whole house, and I have many switches. I think it's upward of 20 switches that I bought. I ended up not using all of them, but I saved so much money. The only downside is my app have to be set in China, like the region setting has to be in China, but it doesn't stop the app from being like set into an English language. So you can use the app as per normal. Because I have access to all the China products under Aqara, I have a smart panel. I have 2 smart panels in the house. One is in the bedroom. So if somebody press the doorbell, that smart panel will throw up the view from the doorbell. To basically, I don't have to run all the way out if it's like some promoters or somebody just like dropping off a parcel, like I can take my time. And then I have a second smart panel that is by the master toilet. So that lets me save scenes where I can change the light. I can, activate like let's say I have a bedroom scene where everything outside gets turned off. I can do that. Yeah, so that was something that I was really happy with. But also, while planning this house, I've noticed things that, I think it will be things that I would only know after moving in. So while planning the like renovation and layout of the house, right, it was very much based on my living habits when I was living with my parents. So certain things wouldn't translate because when I was living with my parents, most of the time, I'm spending my time in my room because my computer is there, my bed is there. If I'm on a computer, I'm in my room. If I'm like lying on a bed reading a book or playing my phone, I'm in my room. But having a house to myself, most of the time, I'm actually not in the bedroom. So there were things that we did at first that didn't work out, and then we changed. So we have a ceiling fan in the living room, and then we have a ceiling fan in the study currently. It used to be in the bedroom. The study didn't have a fan. And because my mentality was I really wanted ceiling fans because I know how well they cool the area down. So I wanted one in the bedroom so that I don't have to turn on the aircon all the time, right? And then I realized, but I don't spend so much time on the bed anymore. Like if I'm in the room, I'm either in the living room or in the study on the computer. So that ceiling fan didn't work out, and we ended up moving it out into the study and swapping the light essentially. So if you're watching this video to find like renovation, like inspiration or tips, right? I think that is a major point to consider. Like your living habits will change once you have a house to yourself, unless you've already been living in your own space, like you don't share the house with anybody, then you kind of really have a sense of what your living habits like. But otherwise, if you're staying with your parents and going out to get your own home, yeah, something to consider, like your habits will not be the same. So yeah, this is the full house tour. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!